overtime pay. We're talking the overtime play. The big stories, the big plays, the big drama. We got Jared B and Johnny O. Jared B and Johnny O. Jared B and Johnny O. Jared B and Johnny O.
Welcome to Overtime with Jared P. and Johnny O. We have a special guest today. We're going to let Johnny introduce him here in 1 second. And we're going to go over some different topics of OKC. Can they be a dynasty with this team? Durant traded once again. Is this a career-defining move, a make or break for him? Clarks slumping, and we'll go from there. Maybe some baseball talk as well. But first, Johnny, our sponsor, title sponsor.
Title sponsor is Estate Jewelry and Loan. Something old and something new. Estate Jewelry has a great selection of new and estate jewelry, and you can really find a nice, unique piece for any occasion. Actually, one of our guests that we had a couple weeks ago bought a really nice piece off of Brian at Estate Jewelry and Loan. He was very happy with the whole operation. He's got a nice showroom over there. You can reach him at estatejewelryloan.com. And also Salsarita's Fresh Mexican Grill, located in High Point at the Palladium and in Greensboro in the Target Shopping Center on New Garden Road. He's got a food truck, catering, daily specials, and you can check out his menu on salsaritas.com.
Johnny, introduce our guest for today.
I will. CJ Beatty. Well known around this Triad area, and now I'm starting to think throughout the nation, man. He's a rock star, ex baseball, pro baseball player, motivational speaker, and rock star / songwriter. Which toward the end of the show, we're going to let CJ tell us a little bit about what he's doing now, because it looks like a lot of fun, and it looks like it's right up his alley, because this guy's got some personality. So it should be a lot of fun talking with CJ.
All right, excellent. Well, let's get started. Can OKC, the Oklahoma City Thunder, be a dynasty, average age about 25 and a half years, and beat the Pacers in a game that was very disappointing, seeing Halliburton tear his Achilles about 7 minutes into the game after hitting three-pointers. And, I think with Halliburton in the game, it's obviously a different game, clearly. And I think Indiana may have had a really good chance of actually stealing that series and maybe one of the best underdog performances in the NBA Finals. But that's not what happened. We have a new champion, and injuries are part of the game. But can this young team, led by the current MVP, remain a dynasty? CJ, what do you think?
I mean, right off, I would say yes, but I don't know if they, we're in a different culture. It's a different temperature in sports now. I think it's busted wide open when it comes to value. Honestly, call it what it is. There's no more loyalty amongst players. There's no more chips on the shoulder saying, hey, man, we have to do better. Because the moment you say we, the agent whispers in your ear a bigger contract, and you're like, I got to do what's best for my family. Respectfully so. But with that door being busted open, I don't see it, because everybody waits for those moments to increase their value or ride in on that white horse of a championship for that very moment to sit down in contract talks to say, hey, I'm an NBA champion now. So I need my value. My value just went up, So, if you take that away, of course they're young, they're energetic. I still feel like there's a lot to be proven. I mean, SGA had that look on his face, like still unfinished business. I was really looking for SGA to kind of like really break the it's business look, but it seems like he carried that through even the interviews. It was just like, dang, man, is he already thinking about the next one? I mean, God, dude, celebrate.
Yeah.
It was a couple smiles in there, but to answer your question, I just believe that time will tell. I know the agents are licking their chops right now, and they're on the phone as we speak, trying to line some things up, so only time will tell.
I agree with that, and I really like what you about SGA. Every time I've been watching him, he reminds me of Kobe Bryant, man, with that killer instinct and just, okay, what's next? We got this one in our, we'll celebrate tonight, but let's start. I'll see you in the gym at 4 a.m. tomorrow for the next one. And he's got that mentality, man. So I'm really impressed with that kid. Now, the dynasty question, those three guys, they have that big three. Of course, Jalen Williams, if he just gets a little more consistent. But man, when he's on, he is on, and he's definitely a stud. And Chet Holmgren, he might not score 30, 35 points a game, but he's going to get you that 20, 18, or 22 some nights with about 4 or 5 blocks and that, a dozen rebounds. And he actually plays defense. They're saying he's a defensive specialist. So with those three guys, if they stick around because they're so young, yes, it can happen. But what CJ was saying, man, it's all about the money. Especially when you win those championships, you hate to see it, but you get key pieces that leave, because they can't afford it, and that team, thinks they can get rid of them, and it just brings me back to a lot of the different players back in the day. Like the Lakers had that Robert Horry, those key players that always made the key shots and stuff like that. And he ended up bouncing around a couple other teams and went to other teams and won championships. Mm-hmm. So if that top three sticks together, they could win a couple, 3, 4. So I'm anxious to watch them. Plus they got the young coach, that Mark Dagnew. They're a fun team to watch, and I believe definitely the best team in the NBA won the world championship last night.
Yeah, I think Cinderella found her glass slipper. And I hate that it was at the expense of injury like that. But if you look on paper, OKC throughout the entire season, they looked good. They looked poised. They looked like they were gaining momentum. SGA was on his presidential MVP run, and coming into it, it was almost like it was OKC's game to lose. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like, of course Indiana had the momentum that they created, but it was still OKC's finals to lose when it was said and done.
Absolutely. Well, and then if you look at even from a practical standpoint, whether they all stay or not, but I mean, I believe their top 9 players are under contract for next year, but they're going to ask for more money. You got to, I would. And they're a very well-run organization built through the draft. And, so I think Boston's going to be without next year. Halliburton's going to be out for Indiana next year as far as the East. Cleveland's a team you can't trust, and a lot of things happen in the offseason. What is New York? I think they made a huge mistake firing Thibodeau. Yeah. The West is only going to get better. Houston probably got better overnight. That's debatable. We'll get into that in a minute. So, I mean, it is hard to repeat in this current climate, which is funny because we grew up with, in the 80s, Lakers, Celtics dynasties, followed by the Pistons, followed by the Bulls, followed by the Spurs, followed by the Lakers, followed by the Warriors. And so to have 7 new champions in 7 years, it's a new NBA. And I think a lot of it is part of the collective bargaining agreement, but also like you said, the lack of loyalty with certain teams where people would stay, maybe take less money to stay and sign longer contracts. So I think they have a good chance of repeating, but if I would pick the field though. If I'm picking for next year, I think the smart choice is picking the field. But of all the teams coming back next year, I think, if Indiana was healthy, but they're not going to be. Boston healthy, but they're not going to be. So, yeah, I like SGA though. I'll say this: they just say everything you read about him and pundits talk about, he treats the janitor the same as the president of the company. He spends time before the game signing hundreds of autographs, even before the NBA Finals, with young kids. I mean, he seems to really get it, and that's what he might be not as flashy, but he's workmanlike, 32 points a game. You can count on him, a team leader, and he's going to be a benefit to any locker room. So that they've really found a special person in SGA, and I believe the Clippers let him out of let him go early. I mean, they traded him, early on, so they're going to regret that. All right. So, speaking of a team that, according to Vegas, got better overnight, 37-year-old Kevin Durant goes to the Rockets, traded from the Suns. I think 5 second-round picks, 1 first-round pick, top 10 pick. CJ, what do you think this year or two with the Rockets? How can that define Kevin Durant's legacy?
I think at this point, Kevin Durant just really wants to be on that same stage that the Indiana and OKC was on. He wants that. He wants that again. I don't think it's the money at this point. I think that he wants his best chance of doing that and going wherever he's going to be valued and have the best chance. He doesn't want to devalue himself, because you already know once you play that game, I'll settle for this amount of money. That really sets the new value for you and what you're asking for. So go someplace where he's going to get paid and also have the best chance of winning a championship right away. No building. He's not at the building point. He's not that player that we used to try to build a team around him. He's not that, but he's still Durantula. He's still an X factor. He's still an X factor. He is still that guy that when he walks into the gym, you're going to respect it. I mean, who wouldn't? I mean,
right.
I mean, it's like even in his season years that he's in right now, he can still, if you piss him off, drop 30 on you with no problem.
Oh yeah,
with no problem.
Absolutely.
And his frame, even though he's not really all the way talked about as a defensive specialist, that 6'10", 6'11" frame, it's tough to shoot over. So I think that his energy, he still has that fire in him to win a championship. I think that if he gets with the Rockets and they get with his rhythm, it could be something special. You don't write him off.
Yeah.
I think the Rockets. Sorry, Johnny. I think the Rockets were a very well-coached team. I think they're the worst shooting team in the NBA this year, and so you bring one of the best shooters of all time, and then Durant. And maybe, Johnny, you have the stats. I won't take your stats away. But Durant, are you guys Durant stats?
I do. I got a couple of good
I'll
ones.
I'll let you go with the stats. But his stats the last 3 years are, I mean, he's up there with any player, Joker, anybody. And shooting-wise with Steph Curry, better. And he's good for, well, I don't want to steal Johnny's thunder. But I think, Kevin Durant has kind of become that guy where you're like, who is the real Kevin Durant? Is he a leader? Is he somebody that goes to a locker room and makes the locker room better? And I don't think he wants to be a leader. I think he wants to be somewhere where there's an alpha dog and he can come in and get buckets and he can help your team in that way. And I think looking back, if he didn't leave Golden State, he could have 4 or 5 championships and a totally different legacy. But the Brooklyn hurt him bad. Phoenix was even worse.
Yeah.
And in Phoenix right now, it's kind of a franchise with new ownership trying to find their footing. But, they're taking swings, but, man, a huge swing and a miss. So this is a guy that, I mean, the fact that Booker, Durant, and Bradley Beal couldn't even make the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's unacceptable. But I do love Houston's coach. I think Houston has a great coach. They're kind of a young, athletic Thunder team that they can't shoot. But the Thunder can't shoot that well either, but they just can't shoot. But now they've got one of the best shooters of all time. Johnny, what do you think?
Well, Houston was like a number 2 or 3 seed in the West, So, I mean, they had a hell of a team and a hell of a year. Adding Kevin Durant does nothing but help them. He is not. He's. I think he averaged 28 or 20, almost 30 this year. He's a scorer though, and you're right. Just him being 6'11" and his wingspan is 7'5". He is so lanky. He can't help but play probably good defense at times when he really wants to. I'd hate to go against him, that's for sure. But I keep looking back. He's, like you just mentioned, all the teams he's been with. He was with OKC, which, that was him and Russ were together, man, back then. Then he goes to Golden State. Tell me he's not kicking himself. I mean, I don't know if he is or not. I mean, he's making $60 million a year, so I don't know how you kick yourself on that. But, man, he won 2 with Golden State and then left. If he stays there, this whole NBA would have been a whole different story. I mean, I know you can't really. I think they would have won another 2 or 3 easily. Especially with him, getting healthy again after that injury that he did. He did the same thing that Halliburton did in the playoffs. I like the guy, but I just hate that he's bouncing around. But I think that obviously this is his last team. He's going to help him out a lot. A quick little stat that I have of him, which is really something special. 18 years in the NBA. He's had 1 year out of those 18 that he's averaged under 25 points a game. I mean, that's a lot of points. That was his first year at OKC. He averaged 20 points a game. I mean, this guy's a scorer. He's a lot like Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony was a scorer, but Carmelo was only 6'8". This guy's, all of 6'11" and just so lanky. But you're a big scorer. He's never in the conversation of one of the greatest. In the top 10, top 15, or top 20 for sure. But he's mostly an offensive player. But if he would have stayed, that's the only thing I want to say. 2 things. He's going to help Houston big time because you're right. They are very well coached. And I think he gets along with that coach very well for some reason. I think they're almost good friends. So hopefully that stays. So he will help them. But he should have stayed with Golden State. Shoulda, woulda, coulda, I know. But my God, that team was fantastic to watch. And I hate that it ended because look at Steph is still on top of his game. I mean, that would have been something special.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to what CJ said earlier. This started years. I don't know, maybe some fault LeBron. I mean, some you can maybe go back to the big 3 in Boston, but where the loyalty, where it's just like wasn't there, and so he was like, I want to prove it myself. This isn't my team. I get that, and then it's a risk. It was a risk, and he thought he could team up with a big 3 in Brooklyn, and it worked out, and it didn't. It just didn't. And then COVID. There's a lot of things that are unforeseeable in the future.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about
just
go ahead.
A couple things real quick.
Yeah.
Like you just said, his ego is the reason why Durant is who he is, right? And it's not, I wouldn't say it's a bad thing, because sometimes when you think ego, you think that it's like about him. I don't think necessarily that's a bad thing. That's what makes him Kevin Durant, the way that he attacks the game of basketball and what it means to him. But I will say this, because of his upbringing and everything that he's been through, he's not going to be outed as somebody's second fiddle. And that's why he left. It was like, I want to join you guys, but at the end of the day, this is Steph's team. And people kept riding, this is Steph's team. No matter what, he can win a championship, this is still Steph's team. And nobody wants to continue to do that when you, in your eyes, is one of the greatest to ever play this game. Think like, hey, man, this is, no matter what I do, I'm always going to be in Steph's shadow here. So it was one of those things like, do I just take that, or am I going to be the person that always wins these championships because of Steph Curry? Or am I going to be the man that say I can go anywhere and prove that I can win championships too? I'm still a force. So I think that he had one of those ego type things that any macho man or any masculine man would say, all right, I won one here, but I need to prove to the world that I can do this without Steph.
But he hasn't. But he hasn't.
That's the thing. I think that's one of the things that hurts him. The other thing, just real quick, is he's too old to invest in. That's one of the worst business things. You're shaking and die. Investing in Kevin Durant longer than 2 or 3 years is like playing Russian roulette. It's because of his age. I mean, come on, Father Time is undefeated.
Yep.
So with the surge of these young players coming in ready to play, and they got low miles on their vehicle, that's where you want to go. So at the point of, he is a 1 to 2 year contract at most. And you just can't build a team around him. You can build a team around SGA. You can build a team around Halliburton. You can build a team around these people because they have low miles on their vehicle. You get what you get. He's a hired assassin. And the Rockets said, hey, he's the best free agent on the board right now. Let's take him and let's see if we can win tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely not a long-term play. And I get the ego thing. I totally get the ego thing. And he won 2 NBA MVP or Finals MVPs with the Warriors, and would probably would have won a third until he tore his Achilles against Toronto. But you're right; he's in the shadow. But it's a risk, and sometimes it works out for you, and sometimes it doesn't. But then the second stop with Phoenix not looking good after Brooklyn. So this one is, I think, a legacy maker. If they are just competitive and make deep runs in the playoffs, I think it could get people thinking, okay, he ended his career in a solid fashion.
Yeah.
Well, real quick, you talk about Eagles. You got the Jared and Katie morning show, the number one show that's been around for 15, 20 years now. Jared has checked his ego because Katie's the star of that show now.
That's right.
He has just stepped back and let that all happen, man.
Yeah. You better.
I know. I know what's up.
Read the room.
That's right. Sometimes I let Johnny be first. It's overtime with Johnny and Jared sometimes, but the ego gets in there. I said, no, it's Jared first. Now, speaking of basketball, and to me, I think the biggest basketball star right now in the world, WNBA or NBA, is Caitlin Clark. As far as just excitement, she's in a shooting slump. And I'll take this one on first, I guess. All great shooters will go through a slump. I was actually reading that Steph Curry in, I believe, the 2021-2022 season had his worst shooting season where he's low 30s from the three-point line, but games where he's 4 for 21, 3 for 17, 1 for 11 from the three-point line. He's the greatest shooter of all time. But Caitlin Clark, last two games, I believe, 1 for 17 from three.
Yep.
And she's still getting her 20-some points, and they've, I believe, lost both games. I know they lost the most recent game. I watched the tail end of that. But is this a problem? I mean, she gets a lot of attention. People they're picking up now basically at half court what she did her return game with those 7 threes. But is it of any concern for you, CJ, or is this just basketball?
Man, I think this is one of the best things to happen to her as a player. Because of the fact that, she's going to grow from this and toughen up from this. I don't think it's something to worry about as a community or a fan because it shows that she's normal. We rode the coattail of a pure superstar, once-in-a-generation talent of a shooter in the WNBA, and arguably in one of the best pure shooters ever. I think Caitlin Clark can go into that. It's proven. I don't think we need to say, she hasn't done it long enough. I don't know. I don't think you have enough time in your afternoon to watch her highlight reels shooting from all over the court, consistently doing it, contested, double teamed, and so she can shoot, right? I think that it just shows that she's normal. It shows when Steph went through that drought in the 2021-22 season, whenever that was, it shows that he's normal. But it's okay. But he didn't stay down. What goes down will eventually come back up. And when she does come back up, she's going to learn how to keep herself out of that pit. That's what comes with maturity and maturation during your pro career. You could be a home run hitter your entire life and get to pro ball. It takes an adjustment. She's got to adjust with media, being everywhere she goes, adjusting with this and all of this kind of stuff. So it's just an adjustment period. But yeah, she is, think about it. And what would be troubling to me is if she was in this shooting slump, as they call it, and she wasn't still contributing to her team. I mean, you're in a shooting slump, still dropping 20. Yep. You're in a shooting slump and still finding a way to win and get your team involved. That's the nature of a beast right there. Whenever, I might not beat you with my shooting, but we're still going to go after this. She is a competitor, is fierce. And I'm rooting her on because I believe that her ceiling is much higher than people think.
I love that Jared kind of compared her with Steph Curry. I mean, they really are very much alike, as far as shooting and all that. And I'm going to jump on what CJ just said. I guarantee you, when Steph Curry went through that, I think you mentioned a 4 for 21 and this and that, a few of those slumps. I guarantee you, his assists went up and he did other things in that game. And that's exactly what Caitlin's going to be doing when she goes in a shooting slump. Her passing is just off the charts. I don't even think she gets enough credit for her passing, to be honest with you.
Oh, yeah.
So It is, you see her have a couple bad shooting days. You think she's supposed to make every shot. Just like when Curry misses a shot, I even say, oh, shoot, he's going to have an off night. Then he ends up, 7 for 11 or something. But she's going to be just fine. And just, again, what CJ said, man, does she handle herself well, before and after the games, when she's asked questions and stuff like that. She's going to be just fine. And, you're saying she's one of the best shooters. She can only get better. Like you said, this is her second year in the league. It's going to be fun to watch. And I'm on board to watch it.
Plus, I thought, talk about her. Think how big of a star you are, that all you have to do is defend her once she gets knocked down hard, and you'll have the second highest selling jersey in the WNBA. That Sophia Cunningham, she's also very attractive, but she defended her, got one of kind of like a baseball move, which y'all are all about baseball, which is cool. A baseball move and said, I'm going to throw a pitch at this girl. Exactly. She stood up for her, and then overnight, the second highest selling jersey. That's power. Just you defending the star. The defender of the star is now a star in the WNBA in Cunningham. I know you guys are big baseball fans. So, John, I know you have a topic. Seriously, I have an electrician that just showed up and texted me. He was supposed to be here hours ago. I just got to let him in. I'm listening.
Okay. Well, let him in and come back.
Dad, you know how it is. I ain't nobody to help.
CJ, real quick, because we're going to jump into what you do. And I wanted to ask you just this one baseball thing. You got to let me know your thoughts on this Shohei Ohtani, man. Every time I see the guy, I see what he does, and he's back pitching now. He's only pitched a couple innings, but just watching him play the game of baseball, it looks like a superstar little leaguer dominating, and he's doing it in the major leagues. Talk to me about him.
If you have not seen it, if you haven't got a baseball card, if you haven't watched a game, shame on you. This is a person that I truly believe that doesn't come around. He is a generational talent. I'll just say that.
Yep.
Because we often in the baseball world call Shohei Ohtani the created player. We joke and we say that God took his time when he made him. I think God literally made Shohei Ohtani one piece at a time for years. It wasn't no take his time and he stayed on. No, he said, I'm going to do this one brick at a time. I'm going to make sure it's perfected. The reason I say that is because, being a former pro scout, scouting talent, and looking at DNA, makeup, the way he walks, talks, carries himself, his demeanor, how much value he brings to it, his mechanics, the repeatability of his delivery as a pitcher, how he continues to increase speeds late into the game, how he can turn around in the same game and go 2 for 4 with 2 bombs facing somebody throwing upper 90s. It's just unheard of.
It is.
So shame on you if you haven't seen him. I would encourage any and everybody that is listening to this broadcast right now to go out and do a in-home research paper on Shohei Ohtani, and keep it and make sure that you get it laminated, put it in your photo album, give it to your grandkids. Just how we talk about Babe Ruth is how we talk about Shohei Ohtani in the history of baseball.
Yep. And we're all at the age, even me, even the old guy, Babe Ruth is still, I didn't even, I never saw him play, and you always think, was there really a Babe Ruth? Of course there was, Shohei Ohtani is a Babe Ruth in 2025. Jared, I'm telling you, Jared's not a big baseball guy, but he knows, he knows enough baseball. This dude is just, there's no words for him, man. He is spectacular, and he enjoys the game of baseball. You would never know that he's the greatest player right now. If you would watch, he doesn't speak English very well. I wish I could hear him talk more, but he just enjoys the game, and he's like a big kid just playing Little League and just hitting home runs and pitching. Jared, in the major leagues, you don't pitch and hit. This guy's doing both. It's unbelievable. Now he's getting paid for both now, at $750 million or whatever, but well deserved. If there's one guy that deserves over $700 million, Shohei Ohtani.
Well, not only is he hitting at an elite all-time level, but then he's also a great pitcher.
Yep.
It's one like sometimes you hear like a quarterback, and then like, oh, he also punts. You're like, okay, he can get a 40-yard punt off every once in a while. No, he's a major league level starting elite pitcher and hitter, and hit for average, hit for power. Some have said he is currently the greatest athlete in the world. Would you agree with that?
I would definitely say yes. I mean, to be honest with you, I would say so, because when you think of athletes, you think of the people that can run, speed, foot speed, strength, IQ, do it and on a consistent basis, and just have that wow factor skill, right? Well, that is Shohei Ohtani, because even though we're talking about him, he is fast. Yep. Like this man can do those 6'4" legs will leg out triples on you very quickly. So not only does he have top end speed, not only can you throw him in center field if you need to, you can throw him on the mound. He's right-handed, so you can throw him to play any athletic position in the infield, because anybody that is of that Asian culture can play all positions. That's just what they do. They come out of their mothers respectfully, being able to field, because they do fielding all day long. So he can play every position on that field. Tall enough for first, profile. He has a hose, so I'm pretty sure he might be able to catch. Come on now, we've already seen Matt Wieters at 6'6" be able to do it. So why can't 6'4" Shohei Ohtani do it?
I'm sure he could.
At this point, when you're talking about athleticism, is it beyond? I think we all would bet our houses that he can dunk.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Houses that every NFL executive would love to possibly have him play tight end.
Exactly.
So what's next?
Yeah. No, great question, Jared. I mean, I never thought of him as, as one of the greatest athletes. He is. Absolutely.
Yeah.
He can do it all. But well, listen, let's do our advertisers, and I want to hear what CJ is up to these last few years. Go ahead.
All right. We have our sponsor, Surf Hippie Fishing, for all your fishing needs, whether it's tournament needs, apparel, fishing rod holders. They do it all. They have so many cool products. Surf Hippie Fishing with a PH. That's PH. SurfHippieFishing.com. We have Elite Performance Chiropractic. Former NFL player Jeremy Phillips is the chiropractor there. Things he learned while he was a professional football player and being around doctors that he has taken, obviously going to school and becoming a chiropractor, has taken that so he can help you get back feeling better than ever. 2 locations, Greensboro and Winston-Salem, Elite Performance Chiropractic.
And we got Shank and Torrance Insurance, located in Greensboro, but they serve the entire Triad and state. Brian Torrance specializes in personal insurance, including auto, homeowners, and life insurance. He's my insurance guy. Call him at 336-310-1320 for all your insurance needs. And my man Davis Troxler owns Tee It Up Indoor Golf. I don't know, CJ, if you go if you hit the ball in those simulators, but he's got 3 beauties over there. He's got a nice little place over on Battleground Ave. He's got a full golf store in there. If you ever get a chance and you're in the Greensboro area, stop in. Tell him you know me. He'll probably throw you out, but then he'll let you back in. So
that's right. I'll charge you double for sure.
Okay. And that's it for today. Let's hear the ex-pro baseball player, and what is he doing? He has taken his personality to a whole new level. Talk to us, CJ.
Yeah, man. I let's just say, because of TikTok and social media and Instagram, I've been doing, right now I'm known as the king of baseball and softball music. Back in 2015, I created one song called Message to My Haters. in the middle of my motivational speaking career and the tail end of my minor league career. I put it out there on iTunes, and I literally only put it on iTunes just to be able to hold over my friend's head and say, yo, your boy's on iTunes, go buy it for 99 cents. Like, that's all I wanted to do is be like, what?
Yeah, that's cool.
You're on iTunes? Like, yeah, dude, for real. I'm an artist now. That's all. But I put it on my Instagram that I had a song out, and it went local, I guess the local viral, and people started playing it. They started adding it to their playlist. And one day about 2 months later, because that's about how long it takes for all of the metrics to catch up on how much you've earned, I went on there. I just said, hey, man, I'm curious. How many people bought this song? And I went on there, and I had just under $1,000 inside of that account, and in the 2 months that it's been live. And I had that kind of light bulb moment where I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't put a lot of effort into this. This is some beat that I composed off of my iPad on a bus going somewhere in West PA. So I'm like, what if I think I have something here. What if I put some time behind it and some energy and study the craft and actually go to the studio and do the best I can? What if I do that? Let me put out a project. And I called the project Baseball Feel Good Music, Volume 1. And on that project, we had the very popular Bad Umpire. There's a song called Bad Umpire. It goes a little bit like this. You calling up, down, in, out, call a strike again. I'm going to prove what I'm about. You call and then the lyrics go like, zone so big, run a truck through it. You'll even call a strike if Daffy Duck through it.
Love it.
Ain't changed and you still blew it. Better keep your mask on. Everybody knew it. So I started making like just rap songs that were clean, most importantly, because I know that it was a huge gap in the marketplace for clean music that parents and kids can use as walk-up songs. So I just said, hey, I'll raise my hand. I'll be that guy that you can depend on. It's going to have clean music. That's hip-hop. That speaks the language of baseball and softball players. So, man, I started doing softball. It went viral. And now I have a 16-city tour that I'm on, doing concerts at these mega tournaments. And I'm flying out Thursday for my 5th city in Mobile, Alabama. And 2,000 to 3,000 people are there. And if you go on my TikTok, it's just absolute bananas. These girls know my music more than I know it myself. But I've become like the king, man. So like the it's very humbling and exciting to hear parents and players, especially in the softball world, since I was a baseball player, say, thank you for giving us a voice. Thank you for giving us songs that are for us. And it's not coupled in with baseball. Like, it's literally talking about drop balls, the slappers, everything in the sport is in the song. So they're saying thank you for that. So, man, it's been quite the journey.
And what is your TikTok handle for people that want to look you up?
CJ Beatty, just at CJ Beatty, and you'll see me on there dancing with my cowboy hat and doing everything.
I love it, man. And that's the thing. It's like, I always admire people, whether you obviously put tons of effort for years and years and years in baseball and sports and things of that nature. Then you kind of did something that you're just having fun with, but then you said, look, here's an opportunity, and I'm going to fill a niche, with the making sure it's clean, baseball and softball. And then you put effort into it, and then you're living a dream that's you couldn't even plan for.
No.
So I think that's amazing. I love it. I'm going to take a look at it today, and we'll make sure we share it out with everyone that we know as well. That's really, really cool.
Please do. And maybe if I'm close to you guys, I know here in North Carolina, we're coming down to Kinston. Kinston, North Carolina has one of my stops. But if I'm around you, Jared, please, let's get this thing popping, man. We'll bring you out on stage. Maybe you can do the worm.
Oh, you don't? Yeah, I'm more the anaconda. I'm a bigger guy. Yeah. You better have a reinforced stage, but yeah, I would be happy. I would intro you. I'd bring you on stage.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. That'd be awesome, man.
Okay.
Kim and I YouTubed CJ over the weekend or when I knew he was coming on the show. I said, Kim, I go, you got to check this guy out. There's some great YouTubes about you. And she's going, oh my God, this guy's all right. And in closing, I want to say this. Many years ago, CJ Beatty and Will Myers, who played in the major leagues for 11 years or whatever, they both gave my son Lucas batting instructions over at the High Point Batting Center.
Yes.
You remember that, man?
Oh man, yes, that's back in the golden days.
The golden days. And I got Lucas standing in between those two. And I told Lucas, I got CJ. He goes, yeah, I'm following him on Instagram and all that kind of stuff. He goes, I can't believe what he's doing. He said, ask CJ if he remembers. CJ was throwing him pitches inside in the cage with the L screen. About 20 feet away or something. He goes, CJ told him, he goes, I'm going to give you 30 pitches. He goes, and I guarantee you, CJ said this to him, that you'll hit 15 of them right back at me, right up the middle. That means you're hitting it solid. He hit 15 exactly out of those 30, man.
That's what I'm talking about, man. Hey, I remember, man, tell little big bro now. Tell him I said what's up, man.
You got it. Absolutely. Well, CJ, thank you so much, man. It was great having you on, and keep rolling, man. We will be following you, and we'd love to have you on down the road.
Man, I had an absolute blast, Jared, Johnny O. You already know what time it is. Thanks for the opportunity, and y'all keep doing what you're doing. You guys are the best, man.
You got it. Thank you.
Overtime pay. We're talking the overtime play. The big stories, the big plays, the big drama. We got Jared and Johnny.